Mr. Curious.
Today on America Unfiltered, we're tackling a question that millions of people have been asking. Why is everybody so angry online? Scroll through Facebook, check the comments on YouTube, look at Instagram, TikTok, Reddit. Someone is arguing, someone is offended, someone is calling someone else names, and sometimes it feels like the entire internet has become one giant shouting match. But here's the real question. Are people actually angrier than they used to be, or does the internet simply magnify anger? So tonight we're going to look and we're going to tackle the issue. Why is everyone so angry online?
Let's go. Welcome to America Unfiltered. Overseer Ron, I'm looking at a nation. No spin, no filter. Just the truth. I'm looking at a nation. Standing at a crossroads. People chasing dreams while carrying heavy loads. Prices going up, paychecks staying low. Everybody asking where the middle class go. Turn on the TV, hear the same old fight. Left versus right, every single night. But out in the streets where the real folks live, people need solutions, not another negative. Working 2 jobs just to make ends meet. Trying to put food on the family table to eat. Is the dream fading, or is it still alive? Yeah. America Unfiltered, let's tell the truth tonight. Talking about what people need. Small town factories closing down.
Welcome back to another episode of America Unfiltered, the channel where we take a hard look at the issues shaping our lives, our communities, and our nation. I am Overseer Ron with my co-host, my brother from another mother, Mr. X, all the way out in Dallas, Texas. How you doing?
Hello. To one and all, greetings.
Okay, on tonight, on this episode of America Unfiltered, we're asking the question, why is everybody so angry online? We look through Facebook, we check the comments on YouTube, we look at Instagram, TikTok, Reddit. We find that someone is always arguing, somebody's offended, someone is calling someone else names. They're for Trumps, they're against Trumps. The for Republicans, they're against Republicans. They're for Alabama football, they're against Alabama football. I mean, I think the temperature in the United States of America need to be turned down. So the question is, how did we get here? When we look at and we study the civil rights days, slavery days, but mainly the civil rights days, how blacks and white and the minorities, they always fought. And it seemed like today history is repeating itself. So Mr. X, we got you on here tonight. What do you foresee the biggest problem here in America right now? We do know everybody's at each other's throat. But guess what though? It's not just white against black, black against white, white against Latinos. It's also black against black, white against white. But and then when you go online and you read a lot of the comments on Instagram or YouTube, TikTok, I mean different comments that people put out there, on social media. And if you're not a Republican, they call you all kind of names. If you're not a Democrat, you get called all kind of names. It's just this country has gone somewhere. And can you help us out on tonight?
We will see.
We will see.
We will see. We will see.
Okay.
We will see.
Okay. Do you think that it's because of Trump being in the White House? Has he caused a lot of it? Is it because, I read somewhere that one of the guy that's running for governor of Ohio, state of Ohio, he said that Barack Obama was the most divisive president that we ever had. And I have to beg a differ on it. I saw him bringing people together. He brought everybody. Everybody had a seat at the table. So when we're looking at what's going on now, what is causing all this? Is it politics, or it just things just have not changed? We think that it had changed. From the 60s, like we have come, and everybody started thinking that we have come so far in this country. I even heard the senator from South Carolina said that America is not a racist country. But it seems like since Trump has been elected, we have seen more racism. It's like people just coming out of the closet, or what they was hidden, but they have came out of the closet. I was online, I made a comment, and I was told I need to go back to Africa. Just because I made a comment, I criticized the president of the United States. I was told I need to go back to Africa. I'm just looking for a handout. My thing is, what I'm saying is, if we can spend all this money overseas in an illegal war, we have all these poor people here in the United States of America. And then you tell the poor people that you, and some people that actually need help. Okay, I think we lost Mr. X. But some people actually need help. They need a hand up, instead of a handout. Just need a hand up, working a minimum wage job, and being told that we send billions and billions of dollars overseas, billions upon billions of dollars, but we can't simply help our people here in the United States of America. And so when we make a comment like that, and then we get called all kind of names, you're just looking for a handout. Nobody's looking for a handout, but that we are going to have poor people. We are going to have poor people here in the United States of America. And, we can take care of other people's countries, go there and blow up other people's countries, okay? And we can spend all that money. Look at the money. Okay, we're here. Look at the money. We're here.
I lost you for a second. I don't know if you noticed, but we had a kind of a little glitch, but back on.
Okay. My thing is, Mr. Hicks, if we can send all this money overseas, right? If we can send all this money overseas, go tear up a country and spend billions and billions of dollars. But we can't have affordable, you want to cut affordable health care here in the United States of America. You want to downsize the federal workforce, and where all these people have lost their job. You want to close rural hospitals, right, where the people have to drive X amount of miles just to get health care. So we closing rural hospitals. I don't have any money for the help with daycare. we sending billions of dollars overseas to fight an unnecessary war. So can you help us out with that? And people are angry. People are angry. If you say
Right.
anything, about Donald Trump, if you say anything about Barack Obama, he got his followers. Trump had all politicians have their own followers, but you can't say a word about nobody. So what's the deal though?
Comes down to uncertainties and frustration, and given nature of some humans and mankind, frustration leads to sometimes irrational responses and thoughts and actions. So you're living in a period where there are a lot of people who are disappointed with their political parties, one way or the other, and they're frustrated. And when people are frustrated and they let that emotion get the best of them, they lash out. And, usually towards folks who are closest to them. And usually, sometimes not, sometimes it could be random strangers, that this behavior is exhibited towards. But a lot of it comes from disappointment and frustration and whatnot with what people perceive to be fairness or unfairness. So that's where a lot of the anger is coming from.
Okay. So how would you feel if someone told you you need to go back to Africa? You don't belong here, or Black America been here all their life, and someone with some hate speech online would tell you need to go back to Africa. And I said, I never came. I have not come from Africa. I've been living here in the United States all my life.
I know that's been said and done, and been there, done that, heard it before. That's it. That's all you have. I mean, I don't want to be petty or tit for tat. I could simply say, well, you go back to West Asia, which is called Europe today. You go back to Europe. You weren't invited here. So what's the play? That's an old and tired statement that has run its course from a bygone era, and doesn't carry the weight that it supposedly used to. I don't think that it ever carried any weight when that was told to a person of African descent here in the United States. I mean, and this is the funny part. I've seen some folks, Caucasian folks, are now asking, why are Blacks actually going back to Africa and traveling and, experiencing Africa and touring the different countries and sometimes living there, opening businesses and whatnot. Now they have a problem. Some of them have a problem with that. Well, weren't you in the beginning saying go back there? And now folks are actually going back there. They have the means, the economic wherewithal to travel and stuff, and they're actually going back, and now you have a problem. So that was just a silly statement to, hurt your feelings and whatnot. Mindless projection. That's all that was. It's
yeah.
It's like a gnat under your shoe.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I have another question. Why do complete strangers attack each other over politics? They don't never even seen each other before. Sports,
They're heavy,
religion, race, money.
they're heavily invested in it emotionally. So when you're heavily
Emotion.
emotionally invested in something, you go all out to defend it, no matter what. And um, there's a pride issue associated with that. I've got to I've got to defend this. I've got to win this argument no matter what, right? So uh, you know I just have to be right. That's the average thinking of something, the average man. And it doesn't matter if it's a blue collar worker, white collar. Doesn't matter your status economically or what have you. It happens throughout all the stratas of society. Folks just react emotionally and defend things that they have heavily invested in.
So
So
the question is now, um, you know, before social media, okay, before social media, most disagreements happen face to face, right? If you had something negative to say, you had to say it while you was looking someone in the eye,
correct.
right? To me, that created accountability. And the thing was, people thought twice before they said something because you having to face this person. Okay, so now they've they've hidden behind fake accounts, you know, different names, and they feel like they can say whatever they want to say. So has the internet really changed what we call human communication? The way that we,
Yes,
yeah,
yes, definitely. Yeah, yeah. I mean,
okay,
yes, just that's the cell phone alone cha-
yeah,
changed a lot of ways people communicate. Even before cell phones were equipped with internet access,
mhm,
they they changed the way people actually communicated. I had an acquaintance. He told me that, and this is years ago. Before the phones got really fancy and all that, with social media on them. His sons, he he was amazed that his sons are in the same house and they're texting one another. They're just a room
yeah,
away.
yeah.
So yeah, imagine that they just go by there and tell you, hey, I need to talk to you. They're texting a room away. And this is
So
and
yeah,
this is before the phones had all that internet access and stuff. It's just pre internet phones, and it completely changed everything. And back then, and then when of course the internet access became a thing on the phones, you would see people in social settings, in a nightclub, out at a social event, where in the past that's where you went to mingle and possibly meet new people. You know, just be social.
mhm,
You would see people. It was, and you see it. It hasn't stopped. You see people still face down in their phones. They're
yeah.
on social media, but they're in a social setting. People to talk to, but they're on social media. I don't have TikTok or Instagram or none of those. You know,
So the
Facebook
thing
Facebook
is,
account. But
the thing
so
is,
yeah, it has changed how
people,
humans interact with one another.
yeah, yeah. So being angry, um, it gets attention, right? Being angry,
Yeah,
the outbursts and all the foolishness, um, it gets attention. And you know what? Guess what? Social media And the social media companies make money from attention.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or the longer you stay online, the more ads you see. So that being angry is what keep people, keep people engaged.
I guess a lot of, well, not to cut you off, a lot of people have gotten used to being in a hyper state all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Hyper this, hyper that. A constant state of anxiety, uncertainty. So that's why stress issues are. Some people just don't know how to tone it down, how to sit back and appreciate sometimes the smaller things that life and nature have to offer. And sometimes it overwhelms them. There's some folks that can't go without a cell phone, social media. That's like blasphemy. They can't. They can't.
Mm-hmm.
So folks have gotten very attached to these devices, man. I mean, I guarantee you, if you're on a bus or a train or something, one of the major cities here, I guarantee you about over 65-70% of the people sitting with you on that train or bus, whatever, they're going to be on their cell phone.
Yes.
Scrolling. So, yeah, it has changed how human beings interact in the real world. It's some people just feel more secure interacting through electronic media than in person.
Mm-hmm.
It's made a lot of people introverted. Yeah.
Yes, but
But
then see when people get angry, they get online, they angry, they comment, they express themselves and they say anything,
Yeah.
They share, they argue,
Yeah.
And then guess what? I think some of them are doing it. When they do it, the algorithm picks up, they engage them. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, you see examples of people just overdoing it online. What was it? I saw a guy. He had posted a situation where some random guy insulted his wife. These people, they're in a mixed marriage. He's Caucasian, she's Negroid, black.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy insults his wife. So this guy seems to be pretty savvy with with social media. He was able to track him down and call the guy and confronted him. And the guy was all on a he was all apologetic and sorry and didn't mean to do it, man. And I was just working out some things and so, while he's sitting down comfortably in his study or his basement or wherever he can do that. But when he's confronted with an actual person that knows where he lives and calls him about issue with life, and then he's
yes,
he's all apologetic and sorry, yeah. So that happens.
The thing is though, today, I mean, politics is nothing new. It's been around for a long time. But there was a time when politics stayed mostly in political discussion, right? In the political arena, in the political arena, in the political arena is where they discussed it, right?
And I think I look at it like this. If you go back and look at political arena here in the United States, there were some heated arguments that got sometimes even personal between members of opposing sides. You know, led to real insults. You know, personal insults. So the only difference is today that news now is instantaneous, travels faster. Back then, if a guy had a issue with another guy, they got into it on the floor back in the 1860s, 1870s, 1880s, 1890s, early 1900s. You know, that stuff wasn't instantaneous where you like today, but it went on. That was all. It was always there, but it's just that today we get these events instantaneous. So you tend to say it wasn't always like that, but a lot of times it wasn't. Politicians always came to blows and stuff, and you know, the House and the Senate. And I can recall reading about the what was it? Abraham Lincoln's vice president. Can't recall his name, but he would get into personal insults, especially with Southern delegates and whatnot, you know. And if I remember correctly, there was one point where he was being insulted because he had a swarthy, dark complexion. And the Southerners were insulting him about his complexion. And he returned the insult and pretty much told the guy, well, I get, you know, he told I want to make sure I get the quote right when he returned the insult across the floor. He told the Southerner, I get my color from nature. You, on the other hand, you get yours from the bottom of a whiskey bottle. You know, so you know, it got testy back then. Mm-hmm. And so I had the political stuff spilled over outside where sometimes duels were fought and men died. You know, in the age of, you know, gentlemen, you know, going to a spot and taking out their so-called pistols, you know, or they would call it a gentleman's pistol, and you would have a guy officiating the meeting, and you know, and they would march off in opposite directions and turn around and fire at one another over insults and whatnot, you know. That happened. Yeah.
Okay.
But
So
that news is instant today, so we get it instantly. So it seems like, well, this didn't used to happen, but yes, it did happen, but it wasn't instant like today.
Okay. What about the day not too long ago? Trying to see who was president. Like Bill Clinton was president. Had Republican House, you know, majority. And those guys, Democrats and Republicans, believe it or not, they used to battle it out. But at nighttime, they used to go to dinner. They go out and eat. You know, they battle it out on the House floor, on the Senate, and they went out to eat that night.
Well, you had cooler heads during that administration, a more mature mindset during that administration. So it is what it is. Yeah.
This is what I think. I think the election of Barack Obama, I think it brought out the worst in America. I think it brought out the worst in America. Number one, his name. He was different. Okay. I remember, that's God bless his soul. I remember when it was John McCain was on the campaign trail, and this lady said to him, I don't trust Obama. I think he Arab. I just don't trust him. In other words, he's not one of us.
Oh,
Okay.
I remember that. She said
Yeah,
he's a Muslim.
he's a Muslim.
And
Okay.
John McCain stopped her, you know,
He was
and
decent.
yeah, John McCain had
John
stopped her.
McCain was a decent man. He stopped her. No, ma'am, he's a
Yeah,
good family man. We
yeah,
just have to happen to have different opinions,
correct,
okay, of how we're gonna run this country. Now that was
correct,
classic.
right,
That was
correct,
classic. But I'm
correct.
just saying, when with him coming on the scene, I think it's kind of brought out the worst. We seen stuff I never seen, not in my lifetime. The president giving a State of the Union address, and someone yell out from the
You,
chamber, "You lie!"
right,
Come on. Now that was the first. Now, you talk about back in Lincoln days, they used to have but that we talk about modern day. That was the
right,
first time I've seen that,
right,
because they always have. They're different from Bill Clinton. They didn't do Bill Clinton like that. Didn't nobody do George Herbert Walker Bush like that. Didn't nobody do George W. like that, right? When Barack Obama came on the scene as the president of the United States of America, it brought out the worst of America. Look at this. The reason why I say it brought out the worst, look at the birther movement. They was trying to dispel him, right? He's not one of us. He wasn't even born, the man born in Hawaii. He wasn't even born in the United States of America. Come
right.
on now.
While at the
Where's
same
this birth
time,
certificate? Where's this
yeah,
birth certificate? All this foolishness,
while at
right?
the same time ignoring that his opponent John McCain wasn't born here either.
Yes,
Born in Panama.
yes. And see, here's the thing. Here's the thing. It brought out the worst. We start seeing this. Where we start seeing all of this foolishness. All of this
I
foolishness.
mean, it simply comes down to a sense of entitlement
Yes.
by a European collective. Is that we found this?
Mhm.
We founded this nation not
Mhm.
for the melanated man to prosper. It was intended to be a permanent burden bearer.
Mhm.
You know, a creature to be under our foot, and you know, to be treated like livestock. So there you have it. And then folks start to rise and come up out of it.
Yes.
Yeah, people. I mean, look what happened right after, during and after Reconstruction was a wake up call to the European collective.
Yes.
You had out of 300 years of chattel slavery, in just a matter of a few years under Reconstruction, you had black men being elected to public office.
Yes.
Blacks were opening schools and universities, owning large tracts of land. At one point, collectively, black people in the United States, black citizens in the United States owned over 18 million acres of land collectively.
Mhm.
I think that's the correct. And so when a person looks at that, who's had you in a state of state of being like a livestock basically,
Mhm.
and they look at and see you do that collectively as a people, that messes with the psyche, because they're saying, well, wait a minute, I had them down for 300 years. And you're telling me in less than maybe 10 years, they've accomplished all of this. Oh no, we got to come up with
Mhm.
ways and means to keep them underfoot as a permanent underclass, because this is affecting my ego. That's what you call
Mhm.
having a bruised ego, because now you've been taught all your life that they're animals, they're beneath you, and just within a short period of time of coming up out of bondage, they're senators, state representatives, lawyers, doctors, dentists, owning land, and that causes a what you call a malfunction in the racist mind. So of course they had to come up with such things as, you know, grandfather laws and the Jim Crow laws and stuff, because they were saying, well, we don't want to have a level playing field with these folks. They've shown us what they can do in a little period of time after being subjugated and controlled for 3 centuries. This is what they're producing in less than what, 10, 15 years. That right
Yeah.
there is a threat. So
Mhm.
that is a threat, and again, it destroys the ego, because it goes
Yeah.
against everything that they were led to believe that they
Yeah.
should be in what you should be. You know?
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you think human beings are what they call tribal by nature? Remember thousands of years ago,
Uh,
tribes help people
I
survive.
mean, yeah, well, because that was survival when it came to being in large in groups and numbers. Your chance of survival were better. Yeah,
Yeah.
the
Well,
lone guy out there, in the forest, he was more at a risk. He had nobody to watch his back. But if
hmm
it's a group, that takes some of the anxiety and fear off. You know, you're primordial human being hundreds of thousands of years ago, living in a hunter gatherer state, what have you. It would be smart to be in a group. And that's not a life for a lone man or even a lone woman. You know,
okay. Yeah.
you can sleep and rest while others watch and keep guard. You know, you are down at the lake or the river collecting water. Someone's looking around, make sure there are no predators coming, or maybe another hostile group approaching. You know, it's easier when it's a collective of people. So it was that dynamic came about because it had to be for the collective to survive,
Mhm.
and that's just how it
You
is.
know,
You know, it's how it is.
okay. No,
You gravitate
yeah. Let me.
towards who looks and speaks and sounds like you. You know, have similar likes and
Yeah.
dislikes. Just human. You know.
So yeah. So right now, uh, here in this country, people are stressed out. You know, let's be honest about it. They are stressed out. You know, life is very difficult for some people. You know, you're looking at, prices are high, housing costs are rising, debt is increasing. Many people feel financially trapped. Others feel lonely. Some are struggling. Some are worried about the future. And so the internet becomes like an outlet. People bring their frustration online.
Yeah.
And the stranger they're arguing with may not be the real source of their anger. Now, I see online right now that many people, um, it depends on if you have a Democratic governor or Republican governor. You know, if you have a Democratic governor, majority of the MAGA movement, they blame the governor. You know, uh, if you have a Republican governor, people don't blame the Republican governor for the state of the country right now. But if you have a Democratic governor, they want to blame the Democratic governor for the high rising in costs and gasoline, gas prices, and inflation. So where today, when people is online and they blaming, they point fingers, where do the blame lies? Is it the Iran war? Where does I mean, everybody angry, but to me they point fingers. They need to point it. They got it pointed in the wrong direction.
Well, sometimes too, what causes that too is a sense of hopelessness.
Okay.
That's where anger comes from. That they'll say to themselves, "The government's too big. I really, can't really do anything to change this monster." So that makes them angry because if they want something to change, but
Yes.
they don't know how to go about changing it, or they think the job is too big, and they get frustrated, so they lash out, just to blow off some steam. Because again, that's the nature of people. But both parties have been culpable when it comes to distribution of funds in places that doesn't need to be. Putting an emphasis on things that really shouldn't be emphasized or prioritized. Both parties, just that they go about it a different way, presenting themselves to the masses, but both parties are at fault. Yeah. And, folks, they vote. I vote, at the local level, but folks are tired of voting for something and getting something completely different. And, you'll hear them say, we need more than two parties. But they're so used to voting for those two main parties, because when a Green Party representative or independent comes up, they really don't garner the votes, that would help them to get elected, so they could hopefully make a difference. So it's a cycle of what I call organized confusion.
Okay. So neither party.
No.
So we have a problem with both parties.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. They're both responsible for a lot of overspending, unnecessary spending in places that shouldn't, that the money shouldn't have gone, and neglecting the basics, the fundamentals of society, and that's what has led to this situation right now. People are just frustrated with both, both Republicans and Democrats, and the difference is the Republicans. Let's just talk about just the black constituents and Black America in general. Republicans really don't pander, or cater to the black masses in general for votes. They just don't. And the masses are understanding, well, they don't. So why should I even expect anything from them? Now, here's the kicker. The Democrats now claim to be party, for African American constituents, but they practice a system of benign neglect. They come to you, whether your community meetings, your churches or whatnot, and talk a good game. But when elected, no tangibles. So that's worse. At least the other guy, he doesn't promise anything. So you know you're not going to get anything from him. Don't expect anything from him. But you come saying all these nice fancy things and these eloquent words and stuff, and carrying on, and come election time, you're dancing to hip hop and R&B songs, knowing that you don't listen to that stuff. A lot of these candidates, and it's just comical to look and see when they do that. It's just embarrassing. And then they'll tell you, we think we can't do anything for you, but they turn around and they can do it specifically things for every other group that who they don't ask for, at the ballot box. They don't ask these people like they do Black America, we need your vote, Black America. But then they practice benign neglect. Nothing for you. If Black America asks, well, hey man, we need what about reparations? Anti-hate crime bill just for blacks, like you did for Asians, Pacific Islanders. What about stopping, getting qualified immunity on the table for cops that go rogue? Those three main things, still haven't done anything. Even with what happened with George Floyd, no anti-hate crime bill for blacks, no reparation talks. As soon as reparation talks comes up, oh, we have to do a study. We have to do a study. We have to, they'll spend money on a study. Now here come the other groups. They have money for them. No study. But those groups don't vote for them. But you do, but nothing for you. That's the Democrats.
Okay.
So folks are getting kind of fed up with that, so they're saying, okay, well, you know what? No tangibles, Democrats, no votes. I don't want to hear about the Republicans. The Republicans, they never promised me anything like you did. That's the hook, line, and sinker right there. No tangibles, no votes. We need tangibles, not just nice words. And, Miss, Kamala Harris, I'm not going to just here and say, I'm just going to do stuff for Black people. But then you want them to vote for you just because you said you went to a historically Black college and university, and wash collard greens in a bathtub? I don't know where that came from, or prior to that, Hillary Clinton talking about she walks around with hot sauce, I think, in her purse. Like, what? That's supposed to get you votes from. What are you going to do?
Let me tell you something. Now, I'm gonna have to beg a difference with you, Mr. X. I have to say, Joe Biden did a lot for the African American community. Joe Biden problem was he opened those borders. That was his downfall.
Yeah.
As far as the African American community, let's follow the facts where they are. Joseph R. Biden did more for the African American community than any other president, including Barack Obama. I got to give him his props. He did. Okay. Joe Biden made one terrible mistake, and that really cost him, and that really hurt the country too. Just tell the truth about it. When he opened those borders, he did something totally different than Barack Obama. Obama exported more illegals than any president, but he did without attention being brought to it. He did it quietly.
Right.
Yes, he didn't. This mess Trump doing, this ICE and all that foolishness. Barack Obama didn't do that, but he exported more illegals out of here than any president. Joe Biden, he got some bad advice. I will say that he opened those borders.
I'll
And
say
he will not
this.
help. Yeah.
Um, when he got elected, I remember some representatives of black representatives went and met with him and told him, "Hey, look, you said during your victory speech that you got elected because of the black vote. So what are you gonna do, Joe?" And even when he was running, he was arrogant enough to tell black. He didn't tell any other group this. You don't vote for me. If you're going to vote for me, you're not black. What
Yeah,
kind
that
of
was.
nonsense is that? Yeah, right there.
That was.
That's just arrogant. That's arrogant. What I call dumb-foolery. But
Yeah.
and then, like I say, when he did get elected, and these representatives went and sat down and talked with him. He's pointing fingers at them and telling them, "Now look, you need to get with the Latino community and stuff if you want stuff done." See that type of stuff right there. That's an X on him, as far as I'm concerned. You just said at your victory speech because of their vote. That's what made you win. And now they're coming to you asking, "What are you going to do, Joe? You're going to tell them they need to get with some other group?" See that kind of stuff now. And before that, tell them that they're not black. What do you know about being black? You've never been black. You're not black and never will be black. You're a Caucasian man, commonly known as a white man. You did tell that to the Asians. If you don't vote for me, you're not Asian. You don't vote for me, Hispanics, you're not Hispanic. But the arrogance and disrespect you showed those representatives, pointing a finger while doing it, no, absolutely not.
Yeah, I didn't
Absolutely
like that.
not. And
Yeah.
when they did things where we got some stuff done, it wasn't specifically for us. They made sure they included other groups. They have this silly statement they use. I heard Barack use it too. All tide, one tide lifts all boats. See, that's when they're talking about us getting stuff. When we say what about us, they start to include everybody else. Black and brown, marginalized communities. All that's
Well, let me-
code talk for
well,
all that's
well, you.
all that's code talk. All that's code for everybody else except Black America. But when they're
Well,
talking specifically, to these groups, they don't say Asian and
let me ask you a
Hispanic.
question.
See,
Okay, let me ask you a
they
question.
don't do that.
Did not Donald Trump come to the African American communities and was questioning? Y'all voted for Democrats. What have that gotten you? Well, some of them voted for him. Where have they gotten them?
Yeah, you know
what,
what? You know what was the
what
main,
has he done? What has he
main kicker?
done?
You know what
Yeah.
was the main kicker for that? Like you
What?
stated earlier, Joe Biden opening up the borders. That created now
Yeah.
a large section of people now that were getting free benefits, free monies and stuff distributed to them. Work working in industries where African American couldn't, and he wasn't getting these free handouts that they were getting. That's what pushed a lot of African Americans to vote for Trump, because on his one thing, he was gonna stop all that illegal immigration and kick people out. That was the kicker for him. That's everything else. Black folks really didn't care for Donald Trump, but because he said that, if that happens, then that would have an economic ease for a lot of them, because you have these people coming in, taking all the resources that were meant for them, for African Americans, and they're getting it for free. Look what happened in Chicago. These people were getting free housing. They're not citizens now. Free housings, debit cards, Some folks are getting houses. You know, houses. 1 year into the country, and you're getting a house. Stipend, thousands of dollars every month. Some getting cars, and the average black constituent in Chicago is looking around saying, "Wait a minute, what's going on? I can't get this stuff. I tried and it denied me." So that's what drove them to vote Republican. Not that they like Trump, but because
did they get,
that one thing.
Did they get anything for voting for Donald Trump? Donald Trump is really what?
Yeah, but
really
I'll say because of the immigration crackdown, a lot of areas have opened up for especially black men in fields that they were locked out of as far as employment and stuff. I can tell you for a fact, I see a lot more brothers right now in construction, working in city crews on the road and stuff. Those jobs years ago were African American predominantly, but then with the influx of the legal, that went away, and they couldn't even get a foot in the door. But that is one aspect.
Am I hearing you correct? Are you saying that Black America is better under Donald Trump?
No, I'm not saying it's better. No, I'm not saying it's better. No. Nobody's better now. Now everybody is feeling the pinch. Before Donald Trump, the pinch was mostly on Black America. Everybody else was getting the bag. Now everybody is under the pinch. Everybody's feeling the heat. So this is my contention. If we're gonna suffer, let's all suffer. Not just one particular group suffer and all the rest, they get the bag. That doesn't work. So we all suffer. I'm cool with that. So now the other groups, they understand what we were telling them. But guess what? Because we went through that fire, or African Americans went through that fire, they're not under the stress and the uncertainty of the other group because they're used to it. They're used to doing things without getting a handout. They're used to making something out of nothing. These other groups, they're not used to that. They were getting the bags, getting all this free stuff, handouts. So you see, now everybody is catching it. That's the difference. But they don't care about, they don't care about Trump. Like Trump. They're just looking at the end results of his administration, how it affects them in their pocket. That's what they're looking at. But they don't.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nah.
It affects everybody.
Now everybody's feeling it. That's my contention. If there's gonna be suffering, then let everybody suffer. Let's divvy it out to everybody. But before, it was just the black man catching hell and being at the bottom of the bucket. Everybody else getting the bag. Folks were coming here fresh off the boat. No credit history. Next thing you know, he has a store. Car. How? Brother, he got perfect credit. Couldn't get a business loan. Now, that's done with.
Okay, let me as we get ready to come to the conclusion, there's another subject that I would like to talk about. Did you see the fight, the UCF fight on the White House grounds?
I saw a couple of segments. I didn't. Usually, I'll watch UFC whenever they have events, but not that particular. No, I didn't watch it. No, I saw a couple of highlights, but that's about it.
Did you see the clip with the fighter? What's his name? Josh. What's his name? The fighter. Precisely. He's a nobody. I saw the clip. Look at that. You just proved it. Josh, what's his name? Nobody knows him. And look at what he said. That was to create some shock value, I guess. And what has it done? Nothing. And keeping in character, the Obamas haven't even responded because
He's a nobody. Why an elephant does not respond to an ant?
Okay.
Make sense? You know,
Yeah.
like in the Avengers movie. Remember Samuel L. Jackson's character Nick Fury had Thor's adopted brother Loki in this high tech enclosure on that super air carrier that belongs to the company Shield, the Shield helicarrier, and Samuel L. Jackson is having a talk with Loki, the god of mischief, and Samuel L. Jackson is trying to find out, what's your issue with us? But
You froze out on.
I want to make sure I say it close to what he says. He says a boot doesn't have a care about an ant.
Okay.
It's just an ant. Boot steps on it. It's not even a second thought. So that's how he viewed things. So that's how the Obamas and people in general view that guy. Whatever his name is, he's a nobody. You don't even know it. I've never heard of him. Who cares? Say stuff like that again. A childish response. Who knows what he has going on at home? For him to say something like that, just out of the blue, nobody cares.
Yes.
Yeah, I
Okay.
still don't know his name. He's still not known.
Gosh, holy, whatever his name is. It's
Yeah,
something like
still not known. What you call it? That guy. What's his
Yeah.
face? Yeah,
Yeah. So
I care.
can people disagree without hating each other? Can we disagree? It's
Yeah,
so much
they
hate.
can.
Like I said,
Can.
I think this has brought out the worst in America right now. It's like, to me, history is repeating itself. What we see in America right now it's awful online. It's just awful. The temperament, the nastiness online. We should be able to disagree. We have different of opinion.
People are reactionary. They sometimes because of emotion, man. Instead of taking a step back and taking a breather before you respond to something or say something, you just blurt out your frustrations right away. And then sometimes you look back on it, you say, you know what, that was dumb. That wasn't. When you look back on it.
Can people disagree and still respect one another?
Yes.
We should.
Yeah.
Can liberals and conservative talk?
Yeah, if you call yourself a mature thinking person with an evolved mind, yeah, of course. But most people are not. Yeah. Most of the general public, unfortunately, are dangerously stupid.
Can people from different backgrounds have meaningful conversation?
Yeah, sure. But everybody's not that mature. Mine is not that evolved. But of course.
But here's the thing. Disagreement is not the enemy. Hatred is. Disagreement is not the enemy. Hatred is. Hatred is the enemy.
And that comes from ego.
It's come from ego. So in my conclusion tonight, we're getting ready. We just had the midterm. We're getting ready. I mean, we just had the primary, get ready for the midterm. And I see things getting worse. They have taken this thing so deep, this liberal and conservative label, this bunch of mess. And it's people that really just hate each other because one's a Democrat, one's a Republican. So where do we go from here? How do we make it better? Will it get better? Look like we're heading to a civil war here in the United States of America if things don't turn around.
Usually, when you look at society's change, always comes from the common man and the grassroots. That's who usually makes the change.
Okay.
There's the upper echelons that fall into place. But
Yes.
yeah, you don't look to the upper echelon to make the changes. Usually from the grassroots level. Usually, when you look at history, both recent and past, that's usually how it works. The common man that who sits down and it's like all of a sudden a mass collective saying, hey man, we're not going to do this anymore. We're going to just change things ourselves. And it doesn't
Okay.
take a lot. It doesn't take a lot. It's not a large percentage of the masses that make the change. Like I tell people all the time, it's only usually about 30% out of the population that takes it into their own hands and leads the charge. It's only 30%. It's never 100%. So don't expect 100% of the masses to do it. It's going to be always around 30%.
Okay. And we're gonna wrap it up. How do we stay sane? We've been talking about why is people so angry online. That's been our subject for tonight. And as we wrap it up, how do you stay sane online? It says limit doom scrolling, take
Yeah.
breaks, verify information. Don't believe everything you read.
And start
Avoid,
to
yeah.
start to
Avoid
appreciate,
emotion. Go ahead.
start to appreciate nature more around you. Actually get outside sometimes and appreciate the trees and the birds and the grass and the wind, the rain, the sunlight, and just appreciate it, and sometimes look in on yourself and talk to yourself. Nobody
Right.
knows you better than you. You don't need a psychiatrist sometimes. You're your own psychiatrist. You do a self introspection and just ask yourself questions, talk to yourself. Sit down and ask, why, hey, why am I here? What's my purpose? Just talk. There's nothing wrong with talking to yourself. You're not crazy.
Mm-hmm.
That's
So
what that's
avoid.
what that's what Western society wants you to believe. So you can go and give your money away to a psychiatrist. You get the same answers from your own self.
Okay, it says avoid emotional posting, respond thoughtfully. Remember, there's a human being behind the screen. Practice empathy, spend time offline. And what we have to understand, real relationships matter. And that is going to do it for tonight on another episode of America Unfiltered. We appreciate Mr. X taking time out of his busy schedule to come and join us on tonight. And we have enjoyed it for this past hour plus. And we're looking forward to the next episode. So we're going to say good night, everyone.